I want to go back to Salah for a second, lads, because I want to just ask Paddy and Chris's opinion and the chat on what Gary Neville had to say, that Liverpool maybe have been mugged off a little bit here by Mohamed Salah. And reports came out today to suggest, with all those clauses and triggers, that it's very, very possible that Mo will hit 400 grand a week. From my perspective, don't care. The club have made their decision. They've given him the money. They've signed him on a 3-year deal. That's good enough for me. I'm over the moon. I don't think we're going to see a fall off a la Alexis Sanchez or Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang or anything like that. And I think Neville's just looking for something to make him feel a little bit better because things are going a little bit peak-tong at Manchester United. What's your thoughts on it all, Paddy?
First of all, I don't really care what he's on because, again, it's not our money, so blah, 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 fair play to him. But I must say, I can understand and see where Gary Neville's coming from. It is a rightful thing to bring up because Mohamed Salah stunk up Anfield for 6 months. He was fucking shit. Like, not just by his standards shit. Shit as in absolutely fucking would rather a 75-year-old fucking Susan Boyle on the right wing. He played decent in the Champions League final. Apart from that, he was abysmal for 6 months. So there is a danger that he could stay shit, but I have hope and confidence that he won't. And now that this is sorted, we'll go on from strength to strength.
I swear every time we talk about this, it gets worse in your head. That last 6 months of the season, I don't think it was that bad. Like, he was bad by his own standards, but
I mean,
like, not.
No, it absolutely was that bad. It was awful.
I mean,
it was
numerically,
it was awful. Take away the penalties.
7 goals, 7 assists.
Don't bring up penalties, Paddy. It's a sore topic.
Take away. He had 2 non-penalty goals in the second half of the season.
Still got what about assists? Anyone know 7. The assist number?
7 assists in the second half of the season.
Not good enough at all. Nowhere near good enough. And it doesn't. Do you know what? For sometimes you use your eyes to judge. It was painful to watch. He played shit. He ruined a lot of our attacks and cost us a lot of games, I would argue.
I don't know. We didn't really lose that many games to cost him, to be honest. I don't know what he did. I mean, how many games did we lose?
He was absolutely awful. He was the worst player in the team by a country mile. And because we didn't have a competent backup, he had the run of Anfield and was allowed to play shit. And it really boggles my mind. So he was that bad. It's impossible for him to do that shit again. So I'm happy he won't be.
I think he was better than Jota. I think statistically he was certainly better than Diaz.
No, you can't watch the second half of the season and say like Salah was better than Diaz. I know that's not what you said. Is it statistically maybe, but no, Diaz. Right now I'm taking Diaz over Salah based on what I seen last year. Do you know what I mean? Like,
one thing I did read, gents, over the past day was that Liverpool, when they were going into these negotiations, feel that he will hugely have benefited from the rest that he's had in this summer, and that they expect him to come back and be the machine that he has. And, looking at him, Chris, he looks in great condition. He looks well, he looks healthy, he looks, well, hopefully refreshed and ready to go.
It's a common theme as well that Mo Salah always starts seasons quickly as well. Especially last season, I think is the biggest prime example of that. Even the season before that, he got a hat-trick on the opening day. I think he'll be absolutely fine. I don't see any risk of it. Going back to what Gary Neville said, I think he's basing it off the fact of Aubameyang, of Ozil, Aubameyang and Ozil are mostly the ones that have failed. Alexis Sanchez, as you mentioned as well. But Mo Salah's a different beast. He's a completely different beast. And I still think he's got probably 3 or 4 years left at the top. And I think that's why Liverpool gave him that contract.
I don't think it's a comparable situation, though, because as much as he's got an upgrade and he's got an increase in his wages, blah blah blah, he could have went to someone else. Someone else in the world would have given him 600 grand a week if he ran his contract down. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's chasing the bag completely. He's getting himself a favorable deal because he feels he deserves it, and yes, he does deserve it. And he's got the money now, so I think there'll be no danger of him downing tools or any of this shite. I think it can only be a positive thing for his mental state.
I seen something in the Athletic article, I think it was from James Pearce that I read yesterday, that said If they had have given him the 13% increase, or whatever it was, we spoke of before, he would have been the 13th richest or highest paid footballer, whereas he feels like he should be top 5 or 6, and this deal probably puts him into that bracket. You know what I can't shake off, Chris? The club trying to say they haven't broken the wage structure. I mean, look, we're all happy he signed. We're all happy, he's here. And, as long as the club can afford it, we're not too fussed. But, I mean, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. And 350 grand to potentially 400 grand. If that isn't breaking the wage structure, then I don't know what is.
I suppose, obviously, like, you have to take into account the bonuses that could potentially come into play for other players. But even then, like, they might not even get close to Mo Salah's base wage, like, which is unbelievable. I still think we've gone about it the right way in terms of giving him performance-related incentives. As Paddy said, he could have gone for 600 grand a week at PSG, probably the same at Man City, Real Madrid, different areas like this. So we've still got him on cheaper than what he would be. And maybe they mean like his contributions make sense in that structure, but for me, I can't justify it. Like they have broken the wage structure for him, and I think there's no reason to be ashamed of that, and I don't think any Liverpool player will get too angry about that, to be honest.
What they have also done, Paddy, is rinsed every possible last month of the wage bill and dragged this shit out as long as possible to save paying them anything over the 200 grand. Like, what is it? Probably a year now negotiations are going on. If they had a caved in earlier on, they probably saved themselves, 10 more million quid over the course of that year?
Yeah, of course they have broken it without question, absolutely. But again, it's just the way it was inevitable. And if you're going to break it for someone, you're going to break it for the likes of Mohamed Salah, who's been integral to this recent success of the club. And yeah, I mean, smart by the club, as you said, they've saved a few quid, and that will go into the Bellingham fund.
Yeah, I mean, what Jim said there could be true. We don't obviously understand all the ins and outs of the wage structure and the way it's done. But one more thing that hasn't escaped my attention here, gents, about this deal is, come next summer, we're into that fucking 2-year bracket again. And 2 years is generally when the contract negotiations start all over again. So, if he puts up numbers this season, do we think that this is going to start again next summer?
Please. We've just had a year of it. Please, no more. I can't. This has taken too long. And the relief of him signing it was so great that surely there can't be more speculation about it next year and the year after. I honestly don't know. Can't see.
He's signed up now. It's irrelevant if it comes up again because there's no pressure from the club now. It's done. He's here. You know what I mean? The only time he's here till 2025. The summer of 2024 is when we'll talk about it again if he's still performing.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think he ends up in Barcelona in 2025.
I don't know. I think he might have one last big payday if he's still like half decent, which I'm sure he will be. I think he will go to La Liga and maybe Real Madrid as well.
If we've brought through, let's say, Cade Gordon in 3 years' time, and he's properly ingrained into the first team, Elliott's pushed on, maybe another signing. I think, look, I'm going to say right now that even if he does do that in 3 years' time, this extension for me is enough to have no bad blood, no matter what happens. For me, no matter what happens now, he's going to go up. He's going to overtake. I think he's 2 behind Michael Owen now in the goal scoring chart. So thank God he's going to go past him. Because no
guarantee.
I'm sure. I think he will. I think he's 16 behind Sir Kenny at this point, which, you should probably do that this season as well. So, there's some pretty big names, Ballon d'Or winner there in Manchester United's legendary Michael Owen and Sir Kenny Dalglish, obviously a legend of our club. To pass Kenny Dalglish, Chris, that'll be an amazing feat.
Oh, yeah, amazing. And I think he's only 5 goals away from becoming our highest ever Premier League goal scorer. Past Robbie Fowler, I think that's the stat anyway, or he's not far away. Actually, no, that's wrong because Robbie Fowler's got 163, I think. But yeah, I can't remember. He's not far away. He's probably only a season away from getting past him, which is, I think that's going to cement him as probably a top 3 Liverpool player ever in the next few, maybe top 5 in the entire club's history. Like he could really, especially in the modern era where we've only really had Gerrard at a long-term player at the club. Like, I think it's got to be him.
You know what I love hearing though, and Mo spoke about it. I think Trent spoke about it at the Grand Prix when he was asked as well. It's not just a talk about wanting to stay at the club, Paddy. It's this inbuilt desire that they all seem to have for more trophies. They really, really seem hungry to get that silverware.
Yeah, on that, I remember I was at an event not so long ago, and Peter McDowell was at it.
Yeah, the announcer.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Love Peter McDowell.
Yeah, great guy, sound man. But he was saying, because he's obviously very close to players, after they won the Premier League, and obviously it was scuppered a little bit because of the way they couldn't celebrate it properly with the fans. They said they are hungrier than ever to deliver that title again properly, so the fans can do it properly. So the hunger and the desire and the passion, it's second to none right now at the club. You can talk about the difference in quality with the different squads around the world. You can talk about who was the best players, but there's one thing that is a guaranteed Stonewall fact: the best group, the most dedicated, hard-working group in football is this current crop of Liverpool players, and that is a testament to Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders, Peter Kravitz, Vitor Mata, all the boys, all the man them, and I've no doubt we'll win something every year before Klopp leaves. I don't know what it'll be, but I'm convinced we will win stuff every single time.